Welcome to the second question. This is a retirement question. It's called lateness and tardy. And here they tell you that tardy is the partner who will now retire due to old age and that they share profits and losses 2-1. Then they have given you the following list of balances. There you have goodwill, land and buildings, some plants, some endowment policies. Please remember that this is an asset. Then there's some inventories, some debtors, some cash, some creditors, an unsecured loan, and some retained profits. This is an interesting question. In this question, they did not give you a general reserve. They gave you a retained profit. A retained profit is also a reserve. So please make sure that you remember that that is an equity. Then we have current accounts and capital accounts. They say in terms of the partnership agreement, the assets and liabilities must be revalued to determine the extent of the interest of the partner. Then they also tell you that the outgoing partner's interest is only payable when the endowment policy pays out. So when they tell you this, that the cash proceeds of the endowment policy is needed, then it means you need to create a loan account as indicated in the steps. Then they have given you some revaluations. They have revaluated the goodwill, the land and buildings, the receivables. They've revalued the inventory, also the endowment policy. In number A, you need to do the T account for valuations. B, you need to do the T account for capital. And then in C, you need to do the journal entries for the winding up. So in number C, they only ask you the journal entries to close the business. So that is just the day before entries. It's not the day of, because on the day of entry or the day of retirement, then that is the day when we open the new books. So we just need to close the books in number C. So let's see. In number A, we need to do the valuation account. So I'm just going to continue on the same memo, but I'm going to open a new sheet. And I just want to increase the size so that you can read. So here I'm going to set up my T account for the valuation, and then we need to go and see but what has been revaluated. So for valuation, what type of element is this? Is an equity. So therefore it will increase on the credit side. So there you will have a plus. And here you will have a minus. So it's an equity account, please remember. So we need to go and see what was revaluated. The first thing that was revaluated was goodwill. But goodwill does not go into valuation accounts. You will see in your textbook, it goes into a separate journal and it is taken straight to the capital. So the land and buildings was revaluated. It's now 15,000. Previously, the land and buildings were 10, so the increase of was 5, so the increase is 10. So I'm going to say it's an increase in land and buildings, so that's a good thing. It's a positive 10,000, and I'm going to say it's land and buildings. Then text wrap, just so that you can read. Then the next one that was revaluated was the, if I go to the revaluations, is the receivables. They said it should be 3,500. We have it as 4,000, so that's a decrease of 500 Rand. So on the decrease side of the valuation account, I'm going to say 500 Rand, and my information is debtors or receivables, whatever synonym you want to use. Then the next one that was revaluated, I believe, is the inventory. The inventory, they said it should be worth 6,500. If I look at it, we have it in our books for 7,000, so it's a decrease of 500. Again, I'm going to decrease the valuation. My information will be inventory. Then the endowment policy is still left. I see that the endowment policy should be worth 30,000. Currently, we have booked it as 15, so that's an increase of 15,000. So on the positive side, I'm going to say 15,000, and the information is endowment policy. Right, then I need to close it off to the capital accounts, because the contra account in the next step after the revaluation is that the valuations is closed to the capital account. So first I'm just going to balance it to find the outstanding balance. So I believe the total will be this side, which is 25, and then this side 25. Then my balance that I need to bring over is 24, so I will have a balance this side of 24. Here, I need to now go and share this, close this valuation account. It needs to be closed off to the capitals. So I'm going to say close it off, so it's going to go on the minus side, capital, and this will be the capital of lateness. So I'm just going to say L, and the capital of tardy. And here I need to do the calculation. Capital, if I can ever spell correctly. And they say that their profit sharing ratio is 2 to 1, which gives us a total of 3. So I'm going to say lateness is going to get of the 24,000, he is going to get 2 out of 3. And tardy will get of the 24,000, he will get 1 out of 3. So there I've closed off my valuation account. And it will balance now to a total of 24,000, and that is what your valuation account should look like. The other accounts that they ask for is the account of capital. So we will have two capitals because we have two partners. So it will first be the capital of lateness, and we will also then have a capital account for tardy. So please remember that you need to start with the balance. And they have given us the balance. Again, it will increase, the capital accounts will increase on the credit side, and it will decrease on the debit side. So for the balance, they have told us in the trial balance that lateness has capital of 20,000 and that tardy has capital of 15,000. Then I need to know what goes into a capital account. What goes into a capital account? First, my balance. Then I need to look for any reserves. Do I have reserves? I do. I have been given retained profit. Then what else do I need? I need the valuation to go into my capital accounts. And the last thing I need is the current accounts. And then also don't forget about the goodwill. Those are the things that should go into a capital account. So let's look at the first one, the reserve, the retained profit that was given to us. There was retained profit of 5,000 Rand, and the retained profit must increase our capital account. So I'm going to say then retained profit and retained profit. I'm going to say it is 5,000. For tardy, it's going to be 2 out of 3. And for lateness, it's going to be 2 out of 3. For tardy, it's going to be 5,000 times 1 out of 3. So there I've done my reserve. The next thing I need to do is my valuation, and I have calculated my valuation. For lateness, it should be 16,000 for the valuation. And for my tardy account, it should be 8,000. So the 8,000 will go there. And I'm just going to say again valuation. Right, I am on my current account, so I need to go and see what the balances are. So if the current account is positive, right, it will be a positive entry into the capital. If the current account is negative, it will be a negative entry into the capital. So I see for lateness, he has a credit, so that's a positive. So I'm going to say 1,000 Rand add and current account. For lateness, or for tardy, I see that he has a negative 1,500 a debit, so it's going to be lesser capital as well, and I'm going to say current account. So the same effect that it has on the current account, it will have on the capital account. If it was negative, it will be negative in the capital account. We've done our valuations. What is left is our goodwill. The goodwill is given in the question as a revaluated goodwill of 10,000, yet we've only recognized 2,000. So the increase in goodwill that I'm working with is 8,000. And goodwill needs to increase my capital account. So for lateness, I'm going to say goodwill, and he will then get, of the increase of 8,000, he gets 2 out of 3. And for Tardy, with regards to goodwill, he is going to get of, just fix my calculation, 2 divided by 3, 8,000, 2 out of 3 there, and here it's going to be 8,000 times 1 out of 3. There we go. We are closing this business, so what is left for me to do is to remember that one of the partners actually left. So the one who left or will leave is Tardy, and I will see that there is an unsecured loan. So because Tardy is leaving, we're going to move the loan to the capital. We will say a loan, and it was a total of a 6,000 there. So the loan will be moved to capital because that's the amount that we owe him. This person is leaving, so we move everything to a loan account to close off the business, because we need to wait for the policy to pay out before we can give him his money. So I'm drawing my double lines, and you will observe then that I need here a entry, and I'm not going to use balance. I'm going to say loan account. So this is the loan account that you create. This is the loan that was unsecured. The loan account is then the balancing figure, so it's your total minus the amount you already have. So the loan account 31,833. Then for the capital of lateness, we don't have any unsecured loans for him, and he's not leaving. So we only balance it out with the transferal account, and we will say find the totals between our double lines. And the transferal account is then equal to the balance. So this is the T accounts that you should have done. So I think most importantly, you need to remember what goes into the account, the capital account, and then remember, if the partner leaves, you close it off with a loan account because you owe him that amount. But if the partner remains, you close it off with the transferal. Right, that's the T accounts for the partners who are leaving. Then in the third part of the question, they ask you that you need to prepare the general journal entries the day before. So now we have a partner who is leaving. So I'm going to do my general journal entries by saying debit, credit, and let's start. The first step in the entries will be to close off the current account. So I'm going to say debit the current account of, increase this one. I'm going to debit the current account of lateness, and I am going to credit the capital of lateness, and he had a total of 1,000. For Tardy, I'm going to have the same account but the other way around. I'm going to debit the capital of Tardy. I'm going to credit the current account of Tardy, and he had 1,500. So there I have performed step number 1. Step number 2 says that you need to close off your general reserve. Since we don't have a general reserve, we're going to close off the retained profits. So I'm going to have retained profits, and I'm going to move it to the capital of Tardy and the capital of lateness. The total retained profit was 5,000. Lateness should get 5,000, 2 out of 3, and 5,000 times 1 out of 3. That's my step number 2. So if you don't have a general reserve to close, you need to close the retained profit. Step number 3 is that we need to recognize the adjustments to the valuation account. The first adjustment we had was land and buildings. And I believe land and buildings had increased by 10,000. So we need to increase the asset. Then the other accounts we had was the debtors, or the receivables, which decreased by 500. The inventory, which decreased by 500. And then there was an endowment policy, which increased by 15,000. So the valuation entry will then be the 25,000 minus the 500 minus the 500, and it was 24,000. You will see that we get to the same answers that we have calculated for the T accounts. So it's not a different calculation we are doing, we're just doing a different format. Then I need to close my valuation. So the valuation is closed off to the capitals, capital of lateness, capital of tardy. The valuation is 24,000 and we need to divide it among them. So it's going to be 24,000 times 2 out of 3 for lateness, and then 24,000 times 1 out of 3 for my tardy partner. Okay, we have closed the valuation. The next thing we need to do is we need to recognize the goodwill. So I'm going to say goodwill is an asset, so I create or I increase the goodwill. I believe the difference in goodwill was 8,000, the increase. So I debit the goodwill. And again, I need to share it among my partners, capital accounts. So I'm just going to copy the capitals and paste them. Here the calculation will be 8,000 times 2 out of 3. Here it's going to be 8,000 times 1 out of 3. Right, so we have done the goodwill, we have done the valuations. So what is left for us to do is to move the information of the partner who is leaving. And we need to move the information to a loan account. So we're going to say we debit the capital, we debit the unsecured loan, and we credit the loan account that we create. So here I'm going to say, all right, the unsecured loan, pretty simple. The unsecured loan was a total of 6,000. And now I need to go and calculate the capital. So for the calculation of the capital, I'm going to start with the balance. The balance of the capital account of the tardy, which is leaving, so we're only looking at the information of the partner who is leaving, and he had a 15,000 Rand balance on his capital account. But we've done a number of adjustments. So for tardy, we have reduced it by 1,500 in one entry. And then in another entry, we have increased it by 166, I want to say 1667 if I round it. Then in another entry, I have increased it by 8,000. So I'm going to say plus 8,000. Then in another entry, I have increased it by, I want to say 2667. So his total capital account is then 25,384, and I'm going to move that to the loan account, which is then the sum of the loan and the capital. 31, you will see that except for rounding, it's equal to the loan account that we've calculated in the T account capital. Right, we are done with that step. The only thing that is left is to do the transferal. So I'm going to start with all my different assets. So land and buildings. I need to close it. I remember I had debtors. I had debtors. I had inventories. There was also a policy. Then there was some cash. There was some plant and equipment, I think. And yeah, I'm just going to close off the accounts separately. So the land and buildings, I recorded the revaluated value, and you would see that the valuation was 15,000. So I'm going to say credit 15,000 to close the business. The debtors was, I believe, 3,500. The inventories was 6,500 at valuation. The policy at valuation was 30,000. So I'm going to type in the policy. And it seems like the bank was a negative value, so it wasn't an asset. And then the plant and equipment was a total of how much? 2,000. So it had a carry value of 2,000. So to the transferal account, I take all my assets. And that is then the sum of all the assets that I have now credited. Then I need a transferal account again. I'm going to close all my liabilities. So I have payables or creditors, and the payables had a total of 4,200. So I'm going to say 4,200 debit because it was a credit balance, but I'm closing it. What other liabilities do I have? I have a... Oh no, the cash and cash equivalents were positive. I was wrong. Sorry, so there it should be 1,500 as well. Then the payables is the liability that we have. The unsecured loan is already dealt with in capital. The retained profits we've done. So it seems like the payables is the only one that we have. So what else do we need to look for then? Of course, the loan account that we created. So the loan account there needs to be closed. And that is then 31,834, and to transfer we take then the sum of both of them. Right, so that is the calculations that you needed to do. Before I go any further, I forgot about another one, and it's easy to forget. It's the goodwill. The goodwill asset that we need to close at valuation is 10,000. So don't forget to put it in. There's the 10,000. So I just want to restate this total. And there we go. So all your assets have been closed, all your liabilities have been closed. So this is the calculations that you need to do and the steps you need to perform for the day before the partner leaves. I hope that this has helped you a little bit, and please stop by my office if you have any more questions. Good luck.